Welcome, everybody, to the Resilient Minds podcast. I'm very excited today to sit here with a friend, fellow family member from the Tony Robbins Platinum community, Dr. Chau Ong. Am I pronouncing it right, bro?
Yes, absolutely, brother.
Well, it's good to see you, bro. I'm excited to connect deeper because we haven't had the pleasure of really going deep. However, I know that this is going to be the time and place to do it together. So I would love to know if you could share, kind of a little bit about you for anybody that doesn't know you yet. So people are want to get to know you better. Just kind of a little bit about, what your mission and vision is as you continue to move forward into your responsibility here on this beautiful planet Earth.
Thank you so much for having me, Eric. It's tremendous knowing you through the Plaid community and Tony Robbins. God bless all of us. My mission is simple: help people get true, absolute freedom in everything, not just financial, but physical, mental, spiritual, to tap into the true potential, true self, and unleash the power within so that they can tap into the true, like, highest potential to gain the absolute freedom.
Beautiful, brother. And it's very aligned, so I love it. It's a very aligned to our collective responsibility here. And what I love is that more of us, especially in this time, we're coming together, right? Like we're more of us than ever now. We're coming together, and I love it because I love your smile. It's just like, yes, you're excited. So it means that, we're tapping into this knowingness, this deeper feeling, this deeper meaning, this energy and motion, as Tony likes to call it. But what I would love to really get curious about is, we've just like I haven't always had that discovery or that awareness, right? So it's about us now helping those that are on the show or the ones that want to kind of get to that space and building alongside us or growing alongside us. How can we get them to really step through that, right? Because this is why this is called the Resilient Show. It's like our experience, right, will continue to manifest our why, our purpose. And how can you, me, and a lot of our community really start to encourage them to follow that heart? So what is it in terms of your kind of big picture or experience of life first that made you get more curious about wanting to go deeper?
Yes, absolutely. So just give a quick 1 minute backstory so people know who I
Please.
am, where I come
Yes.
from. Yeah. So I'm an immigrant from Vietnam. We came here like dirt poor, basically, sleep on one mattress, me, my mom, my sister, and I, in the South and in the worst neighborhood possible. And you just imagine that, no English, no connections, like no relationship, anything. And we were determined to achieve the American dream. So I thought the way to do that was to become a doctor. And I did everything I could for sacrifice everything of my entire life and my family life to become a doctor of pharmacy. I also got my MBA, climbed the corporate ladder to the top, won the Pharmacy of the Year award for a Fortune 1 company. But then I found out that I didn't have the freedom that I thought the American dream would provide. So I then went on my way to my entrepreneurship journey. I tried everything from online marketing, offline marketing, MLM to day trading, you name it, I probably tried it because my dream was just back then was just to take care of my mom, my dad, and retire them, and for all the sacrifice that they had given me to get to America, the land of freedom, right? So then I did everything, but nothing really worked for me until I discovered the secret of Airbnb arbitrage, where I leverage somebody else's property and I sublease out back then to Airbnb. I got my freedom, but I quickly found out that the short-term rental game is too much work. So I did corporate housing. That's when I really found my calling, my niche. That's when I really took off. But corporate housing is when I rent out to companies, I rent out to insurance companies, and then I sublease other people property, leverage OPP, other people property, and then sublease out to companies. And that's how I got my freedom, retire my mom and dad. She's 12 years cancer survivor. So thank God, praise God, every day she's alive. And then I went on to found the oldest, like the original MTR, midterm rental corporate housing coaching company. And now we have one of the largest network for corporate housing. Thank God for that. We help a lot of people, so many people to get financial freedom. That's my background. And to how did I discover to go deeper in all of this is after I got my freedom lifestyle, I was relatively retired when I was 33. That's 5 years ago. I was like, I sit on the beach, I go party and all of that. And then I was like, what's the purpose? Right. So that really led me to go deeper. And that's when I really joined the Platinum partnership with Tony Robbins. And he has been tremendous in helping finding grounded in myself, in my true purpose, and help me to realize that what I'm here to do is to contribute, to grow, and then to contribute, and then help other people, right? So that's when I really tap into my potential of helping a lot of people to get their freedom. And it's all come from the freedom of the mind first, and then it will manifest into the physical reality.
I love it. There's an expression, you know, I love that you're sharing the freedom of the mind, right? Because for those that don't know, you know, we're always told like the mindset. We got to set ourselves in the mind.
Mhm.
And although mind is very important and the intelligence of it is absolutely fundamental, but we really need to know that we are not the mind, you know, like we are so much greater than the mind. We get to use it as a tool. And so, how would you define this in terms of using that intelligence, being led with the heart, and then using the intelligence of our mind to really expand into business and resource and development, so that we can serve a greater responsibility as a team environment in business, in culture, in entrepreneurship? And how does that move forward into you know, community development, nations, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, absolutely. So everything start from within, right? We already have all the resources we need inside of us through, you can call God, universe, whatever. For me, I'm Christian, so for me, I say God, that channel us into this existence that we call human being. So when we tap into our true potential and our true calling, we tap into an infinite source of energy that will allow us to manifest whatever we desire, as long as we are committed to it, do whatever it takes, and also for the greater good of mankind. So the true secret is to tap into the vibration, the frequency of that energy. It's not just a law of attraction. Think about it, it's going to come up, right? You can think about the Ferrari all the time, but it's not going to come up, not going to do anything about it. But when you tap into the vibrational frequency of the person that can handle that kind of success, and you really believe in that, and you also add value to society that is more than what you are receiving, then is it okay for you to receive it? Are you worthy of that? Yes, right? So then most people got it backward. Most people think, oh, I'm lacking resources, I'm lacking this, I'm lacking that. But people don't understand, most people don't want to realize that we already have infinite resources. We just got to tap into it. So
This infinite intelligence that we have access to, do you feel like when you were a young boy, and even though you may have been sleeping on the mattress or you guys were in the worst neighborhood, is that something that you were aware of as a young boy?
absolutely not.
Mm.
Absolutely not. That's not something I'm aware of after I got my financial freedom and actually go deeper and deeper. And I'm learning every day, right?
Mhm.
Continuous, never ending improvement. Um, And I'm discovering more and more of me that I realize. So, and I help so many people from all walks of life, from like a teenage boy at 15 years old to like 70 something years old, from like a truck driver to a surgeon. Okay. Um, what I found is anybody can make it happen. Once they really have a burning desire for their dream, they commit to it and they have willing to do whatever it takes.
What do you think if more youth
Mm-hmm.
uh or people that may be not aware that they are not aware, or maybe they have been not privy to the awareness that we have today, what would it look like from your perspective if more children had access to this type of knowing at a very young age?
Man, that is well, that's what I'm passionate about, brother. That's why I'm so aligned with Tony Robbins and his program, foundation. I'm a supporter of that. He's helping a lot of scholarship for the youth to get access to these technologies that never been offered in the school realm. So, I never learned this stuff from my doctorate and also my MBA, all this stuff that I was not unaware of that's really make the difference in life.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that they didn't or they don't communicate this in school as effectively as you and I believe it needs to?
Yeah, there are many, probably many reasons. For me, I believe the school system is way outdated. It's created like 50, 60 years ago and it's never been updated the way it's
Mhm.
supposed to. Secondly, it could be run by a small group of, it could be, you can tap into the conspiracy theory if you want, right? And I believe in some of that as well. It was like the media is run, there's the narrative, right? It's run by a small group of people who their motive is money and they want to keep people dumb. They don't want to keep people think for themselves. They want to keep people being slave, like in the Matrix. I love that movie because it's so true. Once you really unplug from the Matrix, like most platinum partners does, you realize your true potential and you realize what all the bunch of BS society has ingrained in you through social media to the media, because when they control the media, they control people's mind, and then they can, channel that into whatever they want to do.
I love listening. Tell me, do you feel like it's our responsibility now to create a better system and a more enhanced system as the new ancestry, as the new responsible role models for our future generations? Because it's beautiful. Like, thanks to our brother Tony, and I have a lot of admiration and love for that man in so many ways. And there's a lot of things that he does behind the scenes that many people don't even understand or are not aware of. And what I love is that it's our time to really bring this family together to build a really way more responsible infrastructure and responsible world, so that we are actually manifesting the experience so that our children and our children's children could be living in a place that is way beyond their dreams, because we have taken responsibility of creating it. Whether
Love it.
it's the education, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's the economy, and really creating what I like to call the sovereign age.
Sovereign age. Okay. What's that mean?
So a self-directed approach where people can really create the sovereign within themselves by
Mm-hmm.
knowing they already are born sovereign,
Got it.
instead of
Cool.
thinking that they need to be part of a system that has been created for them, so that they have full ownership of their self-governing system from a direct approach to our great teacher, our eternal teacher,
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, being able to move with that direction and focus.
Absolutely. Love it. So with freedom comes responsibility. And that's what basically you said, right? For the book Man Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, right? So, and I'm a true believer in that, you know. We do have the responsibility to pass on to the next generation what we learn all of our lives. And that's why we are here, for growth and contribution and love. So, and you said it in an amazing way that exactly what I want to share. When you tap into your true expression of yourself, your true potential of what infinite intelligence God called you to do, and you live in that true self, then you really tap into what is infinite, and you already have whatever is needed, and you can really control your universe, your environment, your economy, your friends, your take full responsibility of where I'm at, 100% in where I am, who my friends are, what I do, everything. Because once you do that, then you're in control of your life, right? Then you can have the ability to change. Because if you just do the blame game, or it's because of this, because of that, blah, 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 then you're giving your power away. But when you really own that power, will take full responsibility, then you can really change that.
You know, I love that you bring up owning it, because I think that in the past, there has been a real I mean, I think in Australia they call it tall poppy syndrome, but it's almost like limiting or creating limitations for people that really are willing to shine bright. The people that are have the courage and the responsibility, and they choose that responsibility, they're willing to even step into it. And it's interesting at that point, sometimes there's this this almost like drawing on of creating limitations for others. So in your experience of life, has that happened where people would project their own limitations onto you? And how would you, or if anybody is listening, how did you go through that to grow through it?
Yeah, absolutely. That happens all the time. All the time. And you got to watch it every second, every minute of your life. Just like the great Jim Rohn said, if your friend dropped strychnine into your coffee, what happened? By accident, right? You're probably gonna die. But if your enemy drops some honey in your coffee or some sugar, are you gonna be okay? Yeah, right? So stand guard of the gates of your mind, because what you think about is gonna come to pass, come to existence. So I always have multiple filters in. It doesn't matter. It come from my fiance, my mom, whoever, right? Got to have that filter and ask myself, does this align with what I want to do? Does this align with my values, mission, and vision, right? And, is this for the greater good of mankind? So if you pass all through those filters, and if it's a yes, 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 go for it. If one of the filters is not there, I mean, it's not aligned, then either reevaluate your value, mission, and vision, or just not do it. Pretty simple.
It's beautiful. You're really holding yourself, and what I'm hearing, you're holding yourself to the most outstanding standard. And, Tony talks about this a lot, which it's nice to see this, brother. And I really acknowledge you for that, because having this ability to really pay attention to yourself and being at this stage of level of awareness, my hallucination is that you knew this from the spirit level at a young boy, and you became aware of it through the time. And I believe that actually a lot of our next generations, which is why we're building this society in the way that we are, and the economy, and taking way more responsibility, because our future generations, they're coming in as awakened souls, and they're
Mm-hmm.
going to take the world to the next level, right? So
Absolutely.
we have to build it for them and their becoming so that they can take it to the next level. So, my bro,
Mm-hmm.
this outstanding standard, right? That you are, I see and I can feel the energy that you're speaking at. What I'm curious about is how do you continue? Because I'm looking at the pictures, you know, you got Grant Cardone, you got Tony, you got Richard Branson, you got Russell Brunson, and these are all clearly outstanding standard level individuals that hold themselves to that same standard.
Mm-hmm.
How do you continue for anybody that's listening? Because people are thinking, how do I do this? 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 And you and I both know it's not the how, it's the who.
Mm-hmm.
However, if somebody is curious to know, maybe, okay, I need to a couple steps of getting there because they're stuck in their mind. What would you say to them for anybody listening right now to like really create a little bit more of that resourcefulness within themselves?
Mm. That's the most important question. And I'm glad you asked that, because that if you can figure this out, you can figure everything out, right? First of all, you gotta have the reasons, the why, right? The most important thing is, why are you doing this, right? And focus, it doesn't have to be something grand and big. Focus who you want to help in your life. For me, it was my mom, right? And my dad, because they sacrificed everything. And then to witness her going through cancer at 48 years old after I graduated, when she's supposed to be, you know, have the golden years in her life, really like give me that burning fire that I must make things happen fast so I can really fulfill my promises as a man, as a son to her. So that really like drove me, like whatever it takes, as fast as I can to really give that lifestyle for them, right? For us. So think about, to start, if you are starting out, I would think about just one or two person that make the biggest difference for you. Could be your girlfriend, significant other, or your kid, and really think about how you can change their life through what you do. But also think about, if you don't do what you promise to do or what you're supposed to do, then what are their lives gonna be like? How will they look at you, 5 years, 10 years from now? you know um Really feel that as well. Like, imagine if you don't look up to, you don't do what you're supposed to do, in 5, 10 years from now, your sons and daughter look at you in a way where they like disgusted and they don't trust you, right? How you feel, right? So really, you got to have the carrot and the stick, right? You got to have that pain and the pleasure to really drive you forward. And then you dig deeper, tap into your resources and potential. And then for me, um, I'm a spiritual guy, so I believe there's a greater force among us. And when you can communicate directly to that source, God, infinite intelligence, and really have a greater mission and vision and value as well for the greater good of mankind, combining with the smaller vision of helping your family, then that's when you really tap into the infinite intelligence, infinite knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and guiding you, channeling to your frequency, to what's your calling, what's your true expression, and really go further into that lane. Yeah.
Beautiful. This I felt it, it's nice to hear you speak because you're really coming from a true place. It's coming from within. And brother, I if people are hearing us right now and they're really hearing us, I think it's important also for them to define that there is this great responsibility, that life is more meaningful. It's not just like you know, everything is a lesson, everything is an opportunity, everything is a gift. And if they're listening to us right now, there's a reason, right? Like you just said, like everything happens for a reason. There's a frequency and an energy that allows us to illuminate each other's mirror because there's a frequency and intelligence that is wanting us to connect. And it's like it's not about us. It's not about this. It's not about the vessel of Eric and Dr. Chau. It's about what's coming through us to illuminate a greater, more responsible communication. And I believe too, bro, that when people are willing to fully step up to that internal wisdom, that they'll start to listen to others even more acutely. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely, brother. So when you really listen to what your true calling is, and you really tap into that true expression of yourself, who you really want to be, not who society want you to be or who your parents want you to be, right? Then you are really tap into that frequency, and then you can really channel that to help so many more people, because we do have the responsibility, not just for us, for our small family, but for other people. Like you mentioned earlier, the next generation is going to be amazing, right? It's already amazing because every generation, there's a Chinese proverb say every generation, the next generation is always going to be bigger, better, stronger. And that's how we grow as human beings, right? As a collective intelligence. So when people realize that and people do for the greater good of mankind and also for other people, we can all win together, even better, bigger, and more importantly, you feel fulfilled inside, because it doesn't matter if you gain the whole world, but you lose your own soul, right? But if you can really own up to that and really help a lot of people, then you can just have whatever it is that you want because you deserve it, my friend. Everybody listen here, you deserve it. Whatever it is you want, you absolutely deserve it. It's already here for you. All you gotta do is receive it. You look at the ocean, there's abundance. You look at all the coconut trees, there's all the birds flying, all the land. That people say there's not enough land. Look how many land people not even like touch, right? There's abundance. We just got to believe that we are worthy of it, so that way we can receive, right? And that's what blocking most people progress. When you agree?
This is beautiful, bro. I love it. And I agree. You know, we're so abundant in our nature. It's actually this wealth, this expression, this exchange is the reverence of that wealth, right? This belief of knowing that one another can listen and hear and observe and pay attention to one another and exchange this type of energy. This is the real abundance. This is the real wealth. And I think people, because they've been so conditioned of thinking that wealth is outside of them instead of wealth within them, they've defined a role that thinking that, hey, I'm going to just chase the money instead of defining that the wealth is who I am. The
Mm-hmm.
value is how I show up, is
Mm-hmm.
what I choose to do, how I choose to behave, how I choose to treat another person. That is
Mm-hmm.
real, where the real ultimate value comes from. And I'm curious, you know, because you really resonate with me in terms of your family, right? Like for me, without this wealth of my parents and their knowledge and their love and their ability to be so compassionate and say, Eric, I believe in you, keep going, just trust. I trust you. Just, you know, they would invest into me and things that I failed at, all these things. They've never given up.
Mm-hmm.
And I owe them everything. You know, I owe them all of the abundance because they've showed up with that level of abundance to me. And what was it for you that really wanted to give back? Because for me, this is, you talk about your mother and your father and your family, and it's like that's from my hallucination and like from what I'm hearing, but also from my experience and how I've been with my family, is like that's where the wealth came from inside of you.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, we already have everything within us, right? And when you can really focus on that the wealth is within you, that's so true. Okay. We're already wealthy. We were born, sons and daughters of Heavenly Father, infinite charge, whatever you call it. For me, I'm already royalty. I'm already the prince of God. Everything God has belonged to me, right? And if you can really truly believe that, you can, everything here is already ours, you know? I mean, why not? Why not? Right? Why not? And why not you?
Yeah.
Right? Because once you really, really believe in that and really truly, you know, love yourself and honor yourself for showing up every day, for being you, right? It doesn't matter how quirky, how dorky I am or whatever. I'm just showing up as I am, right? It doesn't matter what our color is, whatever. I'm showing up as me, you know? And I'm already the most beautiful person God has ever created me to be. And you already the most beautiful version that you can be, right? As long as we can focus on that, be the best version of ourselves, and tap into our true expression of what God wants us to be or what infinite intelligence wants us to be, then we're already wealthy. We already have everything we ever needed. All the freedom, it just is coming. It's coming to me. It's coming to you, you know?
Do you think that us setting the stage also for that in terms of a family dynamic like our parents did for us is super important as men and women? Because I believe that that's where also there's a huge responsibility personally,
Mm.
because like that created a huge amount of like
Mm.
power in my experience by my parents being so solid with each other,
Mm.
you know, that
So
then it
important.
allowed me to really go out in there and play. So I think that,
Yes.
like, what are your thoughts on this? I'm curious to get your perspective, brother.
I love that. I love that, brother. So, like Tony mentioned before, the number one common denominator of all successful people is there one person in their life that give them unconditional love. Unconditional love. Okay. So the dynamic of the family is so, so important. If you're a mom out there, we just passed Mother's Day. It's the greatest job in the world, the most important job in the world. You could be raising the next president, the next king and queen, whoever, right? Or just the next person who want to do good. So, and then to all the fathers out there, we're approaching Father's Day as well, right? So it's so, so important that you can focus on your child, on your family, and also the relationship between you and your husband is the most important. Also, like the Bible always said, you know, the marriage is sacred, and the relationship between a man and a woman, of a husband and wife, is so, so important. That's the most important thing. That's the most important person in your life is your significant other, not your mom, not your dad, not your kid, not your dog. Okay. I'm just playing out there. But some people treat their dog better than their spouse sometimes. I mean, just don't. So just just really reevaluate yourself, myself too included, right? And also at the same time, don't be too harsh on yourself, because a lot of time we've been misguided into other people paradigm or into society paradigm or social media, what we're supposed to be, what life's supposed to be, and it doesn't meet our expectation. But when we trade our expectation for appreciation, everything will change. And when life happened for you and not to you, and you really believe in that and find the silver lining in everything, then your life will change as well. But yeah, come back to the man and a woman, you know, that's the most important relationship. Because, for example, if everything go well in your life, but your relationship with your spouse sucks. Like it's terrible. I mean, how you feel, right? And then if everything like you in a concentration camp or you in like the worst, I grew up from a communist country, everything could be like gunpoint to your head, whatever, at any point, right? But you have your spouse there with you, loving you, giving you everything you need, unconditional love. How you feel, you see? So that relationship is so, so important. And then after that will be your immediate family, like your kids, your brother and sister. When that is in sync, then you can be a bright, shining example, be the light that shine and help other pull them in toward the light, not just push them up to the light. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that, even now, it's, alternative families and different ways of really, whether it's a man and a man or a woman and a man, like even
Yeah.
all of these like ways,
Mhm.
to me, this is as long as you're having a healthy relationship, because we all have masculine and feminine energies, right?
Mhm.
And I think that that's the most important thing is as long as it's done in a healthy way,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of education around it, because, we don't want
Mhm.
to push anything to anybody. But
Yes.
what I want to really acknowledge is the importance of curiosity, because people think differently.
Mhm.
And there's this, but as long as we create that safe space, man,
Yes.
and like we both have masculine and feminine energies,
Mhm.
and if two men decide to be together, or two women decide to be together, and they have different, that's their decision. That's
Mhm.
fine.
Right.
And as long as that space is in a place of safety, of
Mhm.
security, of creating, that is how we're going to build a really more welcoming future, and of safety, of power, of nurturing our awakened souls that come through into the future. Because, you know, and brother, you came from a communist country. My parents also from Poland.
Oh, okay.
And so they just came just like after the war.
Mhm. Very similar
And
then.
yeah, right. So it was very much like manipulated thought processes, the way that they, thought, life had to be. And I broke a lot of paradigms because I rebelled like a kid, like as a young boy. And I refused to allow these limitations to be passed on to me. And it was something that put me through a lot of pain, but it was like I was not going to stop. And I do believe that because of their faith and because of that connection, right, that you have created so beautifully, they had that connection with each other, that
Mhm.
they gave me the lighthouse that I needed to come back. And so to always come back, and that certainty, right? Because you look in yourself and you're like, oh, I feel so good. Mom and dad are there, and then you're like, and it didn't matter how like, whatever this fucked up situations were in the environments, you would come back to your parents and be like, wow, like you guys are still there for me. For me, that was everything. For
Mhm.
me, that was everything.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Unconditional love. Mhm.
Unconditional love. This is what I believe our generation is really
Right.
curating on a community level, on a like we can on a national level,
Mhm.
like not like Nayib Bukele is doing in El Salvador in a
Mhm.
beautiful way,
Mhm.
uh, and like there's a lot of opportunities so that we can go and turn into these self-sustainable communities in Africa or in Brazil or across, the world, because I think there's a lot more of that safety, that we're not looking to governing states anymore, or centrally owned banks that are manipulating the people. And so, what are your thoughts on this? I'm curious because I know you're in the real estate, and I know we didn't talk too much about the
Mhm.
business, but
Mhm.
I think that these are the fundamentals to
Yeah,
really create any amazing business. If you agree,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, absolutely, guys. I mean, all these things, people, most people think strategies, tactics, all of that. As we know, success is 80% mindset, right? So even sometimes 90%. So we can really get that right and get ourselves right, then it'd be amazing. It doesn't matter what you do, it's really how you do it, who you do it with, and why you do it, right? All of that play a bigger role. So, but I mean, just to touch on real quick on business, because most
Please, please, my
people,
apologies. I'm
no, that's
sorry.
okay. That's okay. I mean, if we're gonna, really give some tactics, we cover a lot of mindset. So I think we could maybe go into some strategy or tactics for people.
Please.
So when I look at most businesses out there, I study like hundreds of models and tried so many businesses. Most businesses require either a lot of time or a lot of money to do it, right? For example, like, multi-level marketing, day trading, online, uh, you know, you know, drop shipping require a lot of time. But most people don't have that time because they're working either a full-time job or they have a full-time small business, whatever. And then if you look at, like passive income from investment, you can get like 10%, maybe if you get lucky, 15% a year, right? For most people, that will not change their life because you need about $2 million to make 10K a month, $2.5 million. For our audience out there, how long will it take for you to save $2.5 million at your current saving rate, right? So that's why most will never really get there. And then if you look at all the other stuff that, you know, the big commercial and all of that, most people don't really have the time or energy that, or they don't make the time, don't know how to harness that. So my strategy is very simple. It's for anybody who can get started from a teenager to a truck driver who makes six-figure income, is to leverage what's already existed, is other people property, and then leverage our knowledge, experience, connections with the corporate clients. So that way they can just rent a place, furnish it, and then sublease out to the companies, for double the market rent. And also insurance housing, where we're helping families, placing families who are going through hurricane, fire, house damage, so they can have a home instead of a hotel. Who want to stay in a hotel for months, right? With their dogs, their kids. So that's another industry that like nobody really know about. Even if we have people who've been in real estate all their lives for 30, 40 years, never heard about what we do. The reason why we want to leverage other people's property is that's how you can get to your goals 10 times faster, 10 times less risk. It's called asymmetrical risk to reward, right? As you know. So traditional real estate, you got to buy a property, you invest hundreds of thousands of dollars to make like maybe 1,000, 2,000 a month in passive income. This, if you have 100K, you can do about 10 of these property, 10, okay? If you're in California, you need like 200K. But you're in California, you make double what you make in like Texas, for example, because the rent is higher. So therefore, if you have 100K, well, you want to have 10 properties making you money instead of one, right? And you can also test out 10 different markets instead of just one market. And if you lose, you only lose first month rent, first month deposit, and then you can and then when you win like 20, $30,000 in passive income a year. So on average, let's say you have it for 5 years, you make at least 100 to $200,000 for initial investment of 10K. That's a 1 to 10 or 1 to 20 risk to reward ratio, right? So it's super powerful versus traditional real estate where you invest 100K to make 100K. So that's a 1 to 1 ratio. Very important for people to get that, because if it's 1 to 1 ratio, if you mess up one time, you lose everything, right? As recently, one of my students been in real estate for 30 years. He was a millionaire, multi-millionaire, and then he lost it all in one deal, right? Actually two deal. But that's what I'm talking about, because his risk to reward ratio is like 1 to 1. You see,
Mm.
because when you do that, then you gotta be right 100% of the time, and that's very important because most people, they make so much money, but if they don't understand this and they lose on one deal, that's like half of their nest egg. They lose on another deal, that's all their nest egg. So
Mm.
anyway, so that's what we do. But business aside, I mean, if you want to learn more about that, just follow me at Dr. Chau BNB on Instagram and DM me, and we help you in any way, or Facebook or YouTube, DRCHAU BNB. But to come back to the mindset, that is the most important thing. And I love what you do, brother. Thank you so much, my brother here, to spread this consciousness for everybody, especially the younger generation. So that way we focus on the most important thing is unconditional love, or compassionate, and then the relationship between our immediate family. So that way we can be the example for the next generation and then spread out to the world.
I love you so much, bro. I'm so grateful for you, man. Seriously, it's like I'm so grateful that you just see so much value in that, and that you're really using that in business in the way that you are. And I'm excited to expand this episode, because bro, you really are owning it. It's beautiful to observe. It's beautiful to see. I really see you, bro. It's really, I can see it. It's like you're taking the wisdom and then you're bringing these like tactics and strategies, which is you're brilliant in that. But like you're seeing the responsibility of the depth of it, which is really exciting for me, because that's why we're here, man. And I'll definitely add all the links in the show notes so check out, Dr. Chau would be BNB, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. And bro, I have a last question. If you had 3 days left to live, what would you do?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, nobody asked me that before, and I love that question. Really got to think about that. 3 days left to live. I would definitely bring all my families together and throw a big party. I would invite all my people I love the most, right? And maybe to an exotic location on the beach somewhere, and really share all the memories that we had together in an intimate way, but also share my vision, my mission for the future, so that way my legacy can live on. And which is one of the reason why I become one of the, like public figure and doing what I do. And I'm sure that's what you do as well, to really pass on our legacies, because we will be long gone from here, many years from now. But our stories, the lives we touch, the ripple effect always carries on. So everything you do matter, guys. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So showing kindness to a stranger on the street, picking up the trash, or, call your mom and say, I love you. That was the alarm to say, call my mom, right? All of that really, really play a role in the overall society. And when you do that, you're going to feel unconditional love, so that way you can give it, right? And that's what really make the biggest difference. If you forget anything else from this, as long as you tap into your unconditional love for yourself first, and then for your immediate family, and then for your friends, and then the world. And the world will be a better place, and we're all going to have everything we ever wanted.
Thank you for your time, my brother. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, brother. God bless everybody.
Hey, everyone, and thank you so much for listening to The Resilient Minds. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please make sure to go comment and like, and follow us on iTunes or Spotify. And please make sure that if you really love this, to share this episode, and make sure that you're inviting all your friends to like it as we continue to unfold what the beauty of our minds does. More importantly, how powerful our heart level of intelligence can be when we combine our heart and our brain together. And more importantly, make sure you take the time to take a look at what we're doing at Balanced Media Ventures, and how we can actually really support you in doubling your impact, your income, and your influence, and how you can bring your life's greatest vision into your purpose and create it from that level of reality
Talk to you soon.